AMD's not gonna force that power connector on their GPUs. They made this laptop 50% faster by removing its fans. And please tell me this RTX 50 series pricing is not real. It can't be. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this final day of 2024, which is December 31st. Again, 2024, it is a Tuesday. And I wanna remind you that number one, we currently have our PC giveaway going on over on Twitch. You can come watch us over there to figure out the details on how to win a PC with a 14900KF and an RTX 4090. But while that 4090 has a 16-pin power connector, it turns out that AMD is not gonna be requiring that for the upcoming RX 9070 series, RX 9000 series, whatever they're going to be calling it. The 12V-2x6 connector is going to be possible on the upcoming new AMD GPUs, just like it's possible on Intel GPUs as well, but AMD is not mandating it like Nvidia has been doing for their cards. Even the third-party cards have to put this power connector on it, and they can't do anything about it. AMD is just kind of leaving it up to the company's choice. We've already had GPUs from AMD that have this power connector. ASRock came out with their 7900 series creator GPUs that were a blower style, had the 16-pin power connector, so there's some flexibility in that. It's a little bit more open to the companies that are working with AMD as opposed to Nvidia. But in case you're planning on slotting a new RX 9000 series GPU into your PC, you might not have to go get an adapter or get a new fancy power supply, any of that. But you know who already has that all solved for you? Today's video sponsor, Falcon Northwest. They're the pre-built company that's been in business for decades because they take care of their customers, and you can be sure that they're gonna have the power situation set up for whatever next-gen GPU happens to be in your system if you go with them, or even current-gen. Falcon Northwest was the first company to specifically build PCs designed for gaming all the way back in 1992. They're still independently owned and run by its founder, and they have a wide selection for you to choose from that allows you to make it specific down to what you need, whether that's the part selection or even the artwork on the chassis itself. You can get that all done by Falcon Northwest. They have the Talon, which is their mid-tower chassis that I have been using a lot because I had an infection for my surgery recently, so I spent the entire weekend just playing games and live streaming it. And I did that on my Falcon Northwest Talon. But they also have the Frag Box with the handle for portability, small form factor, smallest form factor coming in with the Tiki, being a tiny little footprint that you can just scooch onto the side of your desk. We've had several of these for giveaways over the years during our charity streams, and Falcon Northwest always makes them look beautiful with the SRF liveries. But it's not just for gamers. You don't have to get a gaming PC, you can get a workstation PC as well. With PC Mag naming their Threadripper workstation one of their best products of 2024, they've got you handled no matter what your workload happens to be, whether it's throwing explosive spears into a bird on Horizon Forbidden West, or actually being a productive member of society. Falcon Northwest has you covered. And their service is there for you too. 3 years of warranty, but 1 year of overnight service on that first year if they can't diagnose what's wrong with your PC remotely. If you happen to have any issues, they'll make sure to overnight it to them, sort it all out with their little troubleshooting hands, and then send it all back to you again overnight, so that you're not without your PC and you can get back to throwing spears into birds in a video game. And Falcon Northwest is a major part of the PC community. They're enthusiasts themselves. They're constantly making sure that they're up to date with the latest details on things like the instability with Intel's 13th and 14th gen chips. They're making sure they're doing the research, making sure that their clients are up to date on exactly what's happening with their PCs. I got an email about how to update my BIOS for my Talon PC before Intel even addressed that there was a problem. So Falcon Northwest has your back. You can check them out at the link in the video description in case you want to check out one of their PCs. I highly recommend you do. Big thanks to Falcon Northwest for sponsoring today's video. And while it's confirmed that Falcon Northwest does a lot of cool things, turns out we're getting more confirmation that new next-gen GPUs happen to be coming out. New details coming out about Asus's versions of the RTX 5080 as well as the RX 9070 XT and what versions we're going to be getting. This isn't a huge revelation, but there appears to be a new product lineup that's going to be coming out in the ROG Strix family line or ROG family line that's going to be called Astral. So the RTX 5080 is expected to have a tough Prime and Astral version on launch, and then the RX 9070s are supposed to only have Prime and Tough gaming. At least based on the current details, they could have more SKUs available by the time these GPUs come out, but it does appear like these GPUs exist. They're being worked on. They're going to be hitting the market at some point soon, which I really would hope would happen with the Frore Airjet. They keep doing these things where they show off various different implementations about how cool it would be, but then it never has manifested in mainstream products besides that one Zotac mini box. But right now, I'm currently talking about their latest demo that's probably going to be shown off at CES, which is Frore put their Airjet minis into a Galaxy Book 4, and they got it to run 50% faster by removing the fans and replacing it with their solid state cooling. You see here, they've got two Airjets on either side, and that allowed the laptop to have a higher thermal headroom of up to 18 watts versus the 12 watts that's on the standard version of the laptop. So this is neat. This is a cool thing. This is one of the main use cases for solid state cooling, these thin and light setups where you can get extra performance, slimmer space. You're using less space for the thermal solution, which in their demonstration shows that you can increase the battery size by about 16%, and then you allow for dustproof and water resistance based on the cooler. So there's a lot of advantages here, but we've already seen them do this with the MacBook Air. We've seen the examples happen. I'm still waiting for Frore to have some sort of actual mainstream product lineup with a major manufacturer where we can see this advantage being taken for a lot of people, not just some Zotac mini box that not many people in the US could get their hands on. I've looked here and there every so often to see if I could buy one on eBay or what have you. I really wish there was more implementation of the solid state cooling, but it doesn't appear to be quite ready for prime time for whatever reason behind the scenes. And Reece, behind the scenes, is prepping deals for you. At least I hope he is. Let's see if he closes out 2024 with a banger of a deal.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet. It is Tuesday, my dudes, and with that, the last deals of the year. So let's jump straight into them with this Crucial Pro DDR5 RAM kit. Featuring 32 gigs running at 6,000 megahertz at CL36, going for only $87.99, making it $40 off. But then next up, we have this ASRock Phantom Gaming 27-inch 1080p 165Hz IPS gaming monitor, which is going for only $99.77, making it $80.22 off. But then if you want to grab a smaller screen, you can grab this Corsair iQ Link H100i LCD. This 240mm AIO CP liquid cooler is going for only $99.99, making it a cool $100 off, 50%, whichever you like the sound of more. And with that, the deals are done, and so is the year. See you guys next year. I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, turns out Lenovo got a good deal on their APU that they're going to be putting in the Lenovo Legion Go S because it's an exclusive chip to them. The Ryzen Z2 Go APU, according to new reports, is going to be exclusively made for Lenovo and the Legion Go S chip, which makes a lot of sense. It has Go in the name. It kind of is a fusion. Just as a reminder, the Z2 Go is basically a cut down version of the Z1 Extreme in that it has a lot of the same specs, but it's a generation prior in terms of architecture. So you could expect similar performance. I'd guess about 80% of what you get out of a Legion Go first gen is what the Legion Go S is going to do. That's just speculation based on what I can see from the architecture details, but it's neat that Lenovo is getting AMD to work with them directly on a chip for what they want. And Nvidia is going to have to start working with power companies to get the power delivery to their GPUs that they want to put in there, because we've got some evaluations of that RTX 5090 PCB that got circulated on the internet last week that we showed off here at Hot News. This thing is the chip that we're expecting to see produced. It has 32 gigabytes of VRAM, tons and tons and tons of transistors and different connections that you can see on this board right here. And the evaluation shows off that it actually has a higher power stage configuration versus the RTX 4090. It has 29 total VRMs, whereas the 4090 only had 23 VRMs. So not a huge jump, but a significant one. And this helps to substantiate the rumor that's been floated out there that the RTX 5090 likely will consume more than 450 watts of power. This could potentially be a 600 watt card. And part of that could be that they're using a lot of VRAM. They need more power for that, as well as the GPU core. So this is gonna consume a lot. Obviously, this is not indicative of what the average user is gonna have. I mean, for the average user, an RTX 4070 is super power efficient, especially when you compare it to something from directly on AMD's lineup. The 7900 XTX consumes as much power as an RTX 4090, but it delivers less performance. So even though the 5090 is gonna consume a ton of power, who knows if that's efficient or not when we're not getting a comparable AMD card to really put it head to head against. But because of that, because there's no top end AMD card to put it against, it looks like Nvidia's decided we can charge whatever the heck we want, at least according to leak retail pricing coming out of China, as well as some other regions that I've seen pop up. And it looks like the 5080 and 5090 are going to destroy everybody's wallets unless you don't buy them. That's always an option. People did that with the RTX 4080, and then Nvidia dropped the price on the 4080 Super. But the pricing of the 5090 is expected to be $2,600. The 5080 is supposed to be about $1,500, which that's converting from the Chinese currency to US dollars. So it's not exactly one for one, but what is notable is that the price compared to the 4090 in China is a 37% increase. Going from the 4090 to the 5090 and then the 4080 to the 5080 is a significant increase as well. It essentially means that the 5090 is in a class of its own. It's in that Titan V extra category right up here. The 5080 is going to be where the 4090 currently is, and who knows if Nvidia is just going to shift every single SKU one price point up. So you got something like the 5070 Ti coming in at that $1,000 price point, the 5070 coming in at the $800 price point, the 5060 Ti coming in at that $600 price point, that 4060 coming in at that $500 price point that the 4070 used to occupy. It could potentially be that way, or this could just be leaked pricing that is not indicative of the final pricing. We've seen this happen before. I don't want to over exaggerate how bad this is. Many times before GPU launch, we've seen these leaked retail pricing, and it just does not end up being accurate. It doesn't end up being close, and it's something completely different. So while this looks very doomsday, this looks like PC gaming is going to go the way of unaffordability, and we're all going to have to pick up a Nintendo Switch 2 or an Xbox Series S to get budget gaming. I wouldn't necessarily expect that these GPUs are going to come in at this price point, but it's not looking good. But as always, as I've been reminding in hot news, one of the things that I'll say is that Nvidia is known for changing their mind last minute. Their pricing structure is not set in stone until Jensen walks on that stage and announces it to the world. They have been known to change things at the very last second, screwing over the third-party companies that produce their cards actually because they thought that they were going for one profit margin. Turns out that it's significantly less. That ends up happening. So again, we are waiting for Jensen to come on stage at CES and show us what the 50 series will do to people's wallets or to their savings, especially when you can't afford a graphics card. You're not spending any money on it. You saved the biggest amount. And you guys didn't save your words because you put them in the comments on Friday's episode of Hot News. We got Librat saying, remember guys, AMD never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. They'll release at a horrible MSRP even when they'll lower it anyways later on. I'm glad that this is the most upvoted comment because I don't like to say things like that publicly because then, you know, I get tons of comments being like, you're an Nvidia shill, you hate AMD, all of that kind of stuff. But it's clear that you said something that resonates with a lot of people. And I'm just going to say that I've seen this many times. I've seen AMD have the opportunity to do right by the consumer, and instead they don't. They're not this grand company that is better than Nvidia. They have the same goals, which is to make money for their shareholders. And up until recently, the way that they did that was by improving market share, which was by making sure that their stuff was affordable. But then as soon as you start getting market share, then you jack up the prices, which is what we saw when the Ryzen 5 chip went to $299. That was a price increase from the previous Ryzen 5, which was $199. AMD, when they're in a power position, will raise the price just as much as Nvidia will. And we got Lol saying this needs to be $499 to sell, but knowing AMD follows Nvidia and it'll be at least $699. Then Rayox saying Brett talks about new GPUs and their VRAM. Me looking at my laptop with a 940MX and 2 gigabytes VRAM. I'm sorry. It's a rough world for you to live in. I've been there. I've had those days. We are giving away a PC with the 4090. You want to come check us out over on Twitch? We can potentially help you out with that. And then All Night Gamer said, please make more long form content. I always see you short and get disappointed that I can't have tech background white noise while playing games. More? You want more? I mean, we recently cut down our production, but we're at 4 full-length videos every week for hot news, and then roughly 1 or 2 other videos that come out. So we've averaged about 5 to 6 videos every week for the entire length of 2024. I don't know that we're gonna produce that much more. Obviously, just had a kid. I'm reducing my schedule for hot news is what I'm committing to Tuesday through Friday. We're working on getting our production set up so that we can have 1 to 2 weekend videos come out as well. So we're still gonna be in that 5 to 6 region. I don't know that we're gonna top, we don't got more for you. I recently downloaded our entire library of content, not including shorts, just long form videos. And we have like 500 hours of content uploaded to YouTube. We have a lot. There's a lot of long form content here. Just go find it. You can find it. And as I alluded to in the sponsor segment with Falcon Northwest, I found out that I had an infection from my surgery. And so I have been in recovery mode. Things have been rough for me. I felt well enough to come and film hot news today. Thankfully, I had the entire weekend to recover. I was in the ER on Friday. It was very, very rough. Doing better now, not bedridden, just limiting all of my physical activity. Being on the mend. We do have CES coming up next week, so I'm really trying to take it easy, make sure I'm prepped for that. Thankfully, all of this fell around the holidays, so it hasn't been too much where things are super busy for us. So thanks everybody for being patient with everything that's going on. I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news on Thursday, because tomorrow's, I guess we're proving all night gamers, we're not doing enough long form content. We're not doing a New Year's episode, sorry.